Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering the VCT during the off season. But for this occasion, I have here with me another player that is going to be taking part in the Tier 1 level in 2025. You guys already know him just by looking at him, but for my sake of introduction still, paTiTek of Team Liquid, newest member of that squad taking part in VCT EMEA Tier 1. And so, paTiTek, really appreciate you giving me the time for this quick interview. And so, as I said, tier one, finally making it to the jump as an official member this time, not as a substitute. Just want to ask you, just
Yep.
sort of, what that feeling was like when you were aware that it was 100% going to happen.
Um, I mean, it was a good feeling, because that's what I wanted always to achieve. So, like, to have a team completed like a full roster with me, obviously, inside of it. Um, Being a six-man heretics was nice because I learned a lot. So it's time to put the knowledge I learned at the time on heretics to the team Liquid.
I obviously I want to start on to just how you joined Liquid because of course as you said you were formerly a part of Heretics during the 2024 season as like a six-man slash substitute, was able to compete in like the league at the start of the year and also like in the internationals over in Madrid and Shanghai. But to go from that to now go to Team Liquid, what was your off season like in terms of just being in the free agent market, and when did that kind of conversation start with you and Liquid?
When it comes to off season, I think like when the off season begin in September, something around like the like this time period, I was kind of waiting because I didn't had any trial offers. Basically, like everyone was trialing, but I was still waiting. But like in the middle of like towards the end of the trials, a lot of teams approached me for trials, and at the end of the trial setup, I was basically I was actually gonna sign with Leviathan at
Mm.
the beginning because I had an offer from them. But then Liquid came one day earlier, saying that yeah, we want you, So for me, the thinking process was that I'm gonna pick Liquid over Leviathan just because I believe more in the team. Also, it's EU, so I don't need to relocate. I mean, I wouldn't have problem with this. It's LA after all, so would be nice to live there one day. But yeah, just the prospect of playing in Liquid was at the time a better option for me. And yeah, that's how it all happened in the off season.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Would have been a massive sight to see you in LA just competing in VCT EMEA, because now they were seeing like basically America's people going to EMEA, then a little bit of EMEA people going to Americas, and also like some going to China, and some going to the Pacific. Just basically all crazy all around. But yeah, still good that you ended up deciding to stay with Liquid, and so yeah, like I can
Hmm.
assume that you already had some time just getting to know the rest of the Team Liquid boys and having to do that before the start of the 2025 season. So how has that kind of process been like for you to just getting to know with the rest of the squad, in Camo, kamyk, Keiko, and also Nats?
Um, I think it has been pretty chill and pretty like easy in a way because we're saying to team that like we're coming off from boot camp. We had 2 weeks of boot camp in Utrecht in the Alienware facility, and then the Intel Monsters Reloaded tournament in Turkey. But going back to the question where it didn't feel like we met each other first time, with them. It kind of naturally clicked as well that like we're getting along inside of the game and outside of the game. Constructive criticism is flowing in, so people are giving opinions on everything, which I really like because I don't like when people are getting stuck in their like, you say something to them in game and they're like, yeah, but I did this, I did that, just accept what is saying and like be better, And I think this team is doing it in a way that we are trying to improve every day. Obviously, sometimes there's gonna be off days where people aren't full energy because it happens, it's hard to give your 100% in scrims throughout like the whole year because at the end of the day, it's kind of tiring as well play scrims, to give 100%. I mean, it depends on the schedule, but you know how it is. But yeah, it's been going nice. Getting to know them, especially getting to know them in game, because that's the most important thing for me, to how to play around and what are the strengths and weaknesses of my teammates and myself in the team included. And just find a way to play around the strengths, and trying to eliminate the weaknesses as soon as possible.
As of now, as we now approach the end of the off season and the start of the kickoff event, which is around roughly a month from now, I kind of want to know about, right now, as it is with Team Liquid in its current state, what is your strengths and weaknesses, or biggest strength and biggest weakness so far from your point of view?
I think our strength is definitely the firepower. I think I would say I would compare this team to kind of Heretics in terms of firepower, especially in like clutch situations. It feels like we are never losing them. Most of the time we win them, like 2v4s, 3v3s. So I think playing clutch situations and overall firepower. And weaknesses, I think we're sometimes too impatient, but it's only natural to have in team at the beginning of its creation. You gotta find balance, and you gotta find what's working, what's not. And people are calling certain plays, maybe sometimes forcing too much, but that's where the patience comes in, right? And we gotta learn that it's better to always be patient and play out the round than force anything and just give the round out, basically. But yeah, I would say those are the strengths and weaknesses. I mean, and obviously the vibes, I think the vibes in the team are immaculate, in my opinion. They are really good. There's not, I mean, there's no problems when it comes to mood, because there's me, there's Kamo, there's Gio as well, Keiko. I think everyone is bringing up the mood nicely, and if someone is feeling down, we're gonna up him, and other way around as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good environment to be in and to play in.
I gotta ask you. I know that this past year we've been seeing I don't want to say the emergence, but more so the importance of just having a vibes merchant in the team. And I gotta ask you, like, who's the main vibes merchant of Team Liquid?
I would say it's Kamo, to be honest, because he's just saying some random shit, like random jokes. But then I'm also there to say some stupid shit to lighten up the mood and be that that light guy. But also, my position in the team is also like to lock the guys in if they are like laughing too much, or I don't know, we are just running around on scrim, not focus. I'm there to say with IAS as well, with Nuts, to just focus, focus and don't waste time. Make the practice as valuable as possible. And yeah, I think it's a healthy balance, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at managing it. So yeah, I would say the vibes merchant, me and Kamo. But Kamo on the first place, because this guy is crazy. Like I'm telling you, this guy is crazy. You will see in the on stage.
Oh, for sure, definitely we'll be looking forward to that. Kind of want to now dive a little bit into the team itself and just focusing on the rest of the squad. Obviously, the one thing that I want to ask you first is Nats as the IGL. Obviously, like as I said, and as we've kind of been alluding to so far, comparing Heretics to your current squad. I want to know like exactly how has it been having him as the IGL, because I can assume that that's his first foray into that kind of role, and how does that kind of compare in terms of his IGLing play style to that of Boo from Heretics?
It's not really comparable, because Boo has been IGLing for a really long time already, and Nuts picked it up since like 2 months ago. And I can already tell you that for the 2 months that I'm playing in Liquid with him on IGL, it's insane the amount of work he does and the professionalism he brings into the team. Also with Lohan and Yaotsin on a head coach and assistant coach, they're helping him a lot in terms of IGLing. They are showing him the macro stuff, and I'm not gonna compare Boo and Nuts because those two players are completely different. Completely two different play styles, complete two different calling styles. All I'm gonna say is for Nuts to IGL like this after 2 months of playing is actually insane, in my opinion. The amount of stuff he already learned, and he also takes feedback from us players and from the coaches. Yeah, the amount of things he learned in such a short span of time is mind blowing actually, and he's doing a really good job at it. And as I said earlier, we are improving every day. He's improving with calling. Everyone is improving on their own roles. So it's going in a good way, especially with Nats on IGL, because he has the backbone of Yaotzin and Lohan, the coaching staff that is showing him how to macro manage us, but also show us like, I mean, give us some free hand, but also know when to like say, okay, guys, we're gonna do this, and no one is saying anything. We just do this, and that's it.
It's kind of like a balance of just having like people, play how they usually play, but also like doing it together so that nobody kind of drifts off to like something vastly different, right, for the team.
Yeah, no solo plays. Basically, we're trying to do everything together, but in a way that it's structured. The macro is good, but not too structured.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, and now focusing on like Keiko, because like obviously he's like a player that stood out in Team Liquid despite their struggles in the three phases of 2024. And so, obviously like I believe I believe you were able to face him off in a little bit of kickoff. Might be wrong on that, but still, how do you kind of like see the difference in just playing against him and also playing with him from last year to this year?
I actually didn't have a chance to play against him in VCT, so it's kind of hard to answer the question. But all I'm gonna say is I'm really surprised with Keiko development in the team as well. I think Nats and Keiko are both like insane players, but you can actually see it more when you play with them, the value that they bring into the team. And I have no idea how they were losing in the 2024 season on stage. Like, if you give them good coaches and players that are not scared and that are listening, I think those two are gonna be shining much more than they were shining before. And yeah, when it comes to Keiko, he's been put through a lot in terms of trying to compose our playstyle of how we wanna approach certain things in team. He had to learn a lot. He had to rewire his brain, and he's doing that in a pace which is really nice in terms of like learning the new aspects of like macro and like how he should do certain things, because he's not the duelist anymore. So he kind of need to had to rewire his complete play style, and I think he's on a really good path doing that so far.
And then like rounding it out with like your two fellow Polish compatriots, Kamo and Kamyk. I know you mentioned a little bit about the vibes, but as a player, and also on top of it, just having to like adjust with them as well on top of just like being teammates. How has that process been like for you? And also like how does it feel just to have like more Polish teammates, in Team Liquid? Because like I can assume that like there's like a handful of Polish players, including yourself, that are in Tier One EMEA. So how's that kind of whole thing been? And given that they're very young and that you're very experienced in the scene, how do you kind of look at their uh, uh their current form in playing in Tier One and just having to play alongside yourself and Akiko and that's.
Mhm. I mean, it's going pretty fine, I would say. Having three Polish players is obviously easier to communicate sometimes. I mean, we're not even communicating in Polish in clutch situations. What I'm saying is it's better to communicate in VOD review when I have a suggestion either for kamyk or for kamo. I can just say it in Polish, I can get straight to the point, and he will understand me for sure better than I will do it in English. But when it comes to their playstyles, I mean, It's also, I think, to kind of rewire their brains and to kind of force them into playing into a way where they're not gonna overpick and they need to let the opponents play before they play, which we are working on currently. So we'll see how it's gonna go. But obviously, when there's like when I see a bad macro play or bad micro play, I will always point it out, and I will say it. So in a manner of listen, you did this, but you could have done better in this, like, or maybe just don't pick, maybe just don't do anything in certain situations. I'm like trying to teach them in a way, but I also try to let them also think for themselves what they need to do, because first of all, they need to know what to do in certain situations themselves. I'm not gonna be forcing certain plays. I'm not gonna be saying, "Oh, you cannot pick this, you cannot do that." It's all a matter of trial and error and like figuring out what's the best for us and what's the best for them. Also, we are still trying to like identify our playstyle as a team. So yeah, like all of those aspects really need to be together, and we need to be on the same page as teammates and as a team for everyone to play good, and especially for Kamo to perform. Because I think in Koi he hadn't had a chance to perform because he was playing with players of low caliber, I would say, players that are actually not trying. Maybe Shadows was trying, but other players are, not gonna get deep into that. But we know how Koi played last 2 seasons in VCT. So for him to have teammates that can also shoot and can give him valuable info, valuable insights on the game, it will also help him to grow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to his progress.
Definitely speaks a lot about, just having to move him from Koi to Team Liquid and just seeing the potential he has. And of course, to add context as to what Koi has been, obviously struggling in VCT EMEA, looking at them and also looking at TL, definitely looking forward to that impending a matchup. So now kind of want to focus the attention back onto yourself. And you mentioned a little bit about just sort of the things that you want to contribute to and the things you want to add into Team Liquid since joining them. And so, now that you kind of described what it was like to play with the rest of your teammates, what has been what has been the biggest thing you've been able to contribute to the Liquid squad, with your inclusion and your added um, uh, how do you say information or something, that the things that that you then put into the team?
I think what I bring to the team is the calmness, but that I learned in Heretics. I think the calmness, especially on stage, will win you most of the rounds when you let them play, as I said earlier, and wait for their mistake and kind of stabilize. I think that's what I bring to the team, especially in clutches. And I'm really vocal in VOD review. I really like to point out and ask a lot of questions and be like this annoying guy that's always asking questions, but those questions aren't pointless. Those questions are making the players and myself think about the game in a way, what we could have done better, or what was the right play in certain situation. And we try to replicate those plays in next scrims or in officials or in whatever. We'll always try to replicate those winning scenarios. Is it in clutches? Is it in macro? I'm trying to also be like that guy where I'm kind of second IGLing, but I'm not overcalling nuts. I'm giving like info that is packed with, okay, we can do this, but we don't need to commit here. We can just poke, we can just stay here. Like whatever the call, whatever the situation might be, I'll always be the guy to like control the situation. And yeah, I think calmness and just pointing out mistakes that are easily fixable, but I feel like sometimes people don't point out the obvious mistakes, but the obvious mistakes are always costing the rounds. So I think I'm the guy that will always point it out to not do it. And if it happens again, then, I'm going to do it again. But if it happens again, then it's the person's problem that he's not improving, Because if I see my player doing the same exact mistake 3 rounds in a row, or if it's myself, then I'm gonna be upset either at him or at myself, because it cannot happen like this, where you make the same mistake 3 times after VOD reviewing, and people pointing out that, hey, maybe you should play more in the back or play around the info, whatever the situation might be. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, like the having to look at your two most recent squads, them being Liquid and Heretics, it's kind of similar in like age-wise because like when you were part of Heretics, you had like Boo and yourself, and they were like mostly the veterans of the squad, and then like the rest of everyone else was kind of young. I'm sure you got Benji Fishy already playing a little bit of tier two for a few years heading into 2024, but still like it was he also played a little bit of tier one, especially at the very end of 2023. But still, like he was still relatively new into the tier one scene, and so I mean, you look at that, and look at also Woot and Rian's, before he started kicking ass in VCT, and then you look at that, you look at this one, and it's kind of a little bit of a similarity in kamyk, and Camo already being in Koi, and then also Keiko a little bit, also just having some time to play in tier one and tier two, still relatively young in age. It's very similar in that sense, but um, if you can pinpoint what has been the biggest difference between these two squads outside of just the age and stuff like that, and you're just getting to know these two squads, what would that be?
The main difference, it's really hard to find the main difference because the both teams are really similar in a lot of ways. In age, in how we approach the game. I think we are just I mean, it's not a difference, but we're just really professional, and that's what I expect from everyone, because in Heretics everyone was super professional about everything, about practice, about how we are behaving face to face, if we are not saying like some stupid shit, they were really looking at it because that brings up the mood. And I feel like in Liquid, it's the same. It's the same, but sometimes it can go overboard, which is why we need to find a healthy balance with it. But also in Heretics, we would go overboard sometimes, So I think it's only natural that sometimes you go overboard and you need to tweak out and find a healthy balance. But going back to the question, when I would find a main difference, I think it's just the vision of the game and approach of the game, to be honest. Those Heretics had a complete different vision and approach to the game that we do right now in Liquid. So it's like two completely different playstyles, in my opinion. Similar players, age-wise, and I think skill-wise as well. If not even better. Obviously, I'm gonna one-up my teammates, as always. But yeah, I think the playstyle and the view of the game is the main difference.
Even after looking at Heretics, do very well in 2024 international wise, and also a little bit of domestic wise, you still going, you still like, you really believe that Liquid as it is right now, has that higher potential?
Skill wise, 100%. 100% skill wise. I think if we keep on the path that we are right now and we keep grinding and we don't let ourselves down by not being 100% or like by just trolling scrims, I think we're on a good path. I think we can manage a lot, honestly. And I think also we don't have any expectations on us. From what I've seen lately in the internet, people are putting Liquid at D tier, which I'm completely fine with, because Heretics was the same. No one believed, and I think it's the same with this team. No one is believing that we can actually like come up and be a contender for Masters, for qualification Masters, and just and show a good level on Masters. I think we are perfectly capable of doing that. It's just a matter of getting reps, getting practice, good quality practice, and just replicating the same things that we are doing in practice in officials. Because I think that is going to be one of our main goals, to replicate how we're playing in scrims and to uphold the fundamentals. So yeah.
Yeah, and so you said that the consensus of the pro Valorant scene kind of puts Tia on D tier? Where would you kind of put Liquid at compared to the rest of the VCT EMEA league?
I would put it definitely on A. Nothing, or maybe yeah, A, definitely A. Not S tier, because for S tier, you gotta be a longer team. You gotta play. I think if we would be playing one more season with each other and no changes, I would put us at S tier, because the time that you are playing with your teammates makes a huge difference, in my opinion. But yeah, I would put it at A, realistically speaking, in terms of skill, in terms of our macro knowledge, and just our official level, you know. I think we are players that if we're not gonna shit the bed on stage, then we're gonna be insane. But it's a matter of playing scrims, having good preparation, and then playing off the preparation while upholding the fundamentals. And I think you're gonna be always fine when you do those things. Upholding fundamentals, playing good in scrims, and then replicating that into officials, you're always gonna be good, because the confidence comes from scrims. And if you are doing good in scrims, and if you are replicating what you're doing in scrims to officials, then you know what you can expect, which makes you more comfortable. And it's just a nice feeling to have while playing on stage, you know?
Yeah, and definitely excellent insight that you provided, regarding your current state in Liquid. Hopefully, we can see much more progress, much more greater improvement for the squad, once the 2025 season does kick off, and kick off, in the kickoff of the 2025 season, try to make a pun there. So, I'm moving on from that. Want to now pivot over to obviously now, last year, aka this past season, and your time in Heretics. And obviously, like, it's fair to say that, as you kind of alluded to in a few of your answers before this point, that not many people expected Heretics to play so well, improve so much. And also see you be a key contributor to how well this team performed on the international and domestic stage. So kind of rewinding time back on to start of 2023, end of 2024, you joined Heretics, and you were put alongside the likes of, as I mentioned, Woot Rians, Benji, Fishy Boo, and Mini Boo, a collection of very young players. So much so that they even got the nickname of Los Niños, aka the kids, for people who don't know Spanish. And so, just kind of now moving over into that time, and so you kind of already mentioned about, how what the perception was like for that Heretic squad heading into 2024. And so when the time finally came for you to step in to like kick off, because that was the first time that happened for 2024, what was that situation like, and how did you kind of view your contribution to the team at that point in time?
I think while starting in kickoff, it was kind of hard, in a way that, like, when we started practicing in January, when I moved to Berlin and play with the boys, it took us 2 months to play kickoff, right? So like in those 2 months, we practiced a lot and we were grinding a lot. And the main reason for this team to succeed in kickoff was because we were confident in our scrim to official, this moving stage, to play like in scrims, like in official. And yeah, I mean, Boo was always saying that you get the confidence from playing good in scrims and upholding the fundamentals, not trolling the rounds, playing like you would play on stage. And we're doing that. And I think that was the main difference that helped us win and qualify to Madrid at the time in kickoff. But also, I wasn't really that guy that vibe merchant. I was a guy that came from outside the team and I was trying to uphold their level, not my level. And it was kind of hard for me at the beginning, because playing on stage, obviously, first game versus footballists, I was stressing us a lot, I mean. But the more games I played, the more confidence I gained, and the more I saw things, how the game is being played out on stage. Because in my opinion, playing on stage is completely different than playing online. If it's scrims, if it's officials, it's completely different feeling and completely different things happen in game on stage than, let's say, for example, on a ranked or on scrims. So for me, that was the difference where I had to rewire and learn what happens, what are the best plays, how should I approach certain situations, if I should say something here or should I let the boys play, And most of the situations, I was like that backup plan. I let them play, I let them do their own thing. I'm on the side of the map, doing my own thing. And then when it comes to clash situations, I'm there always to help, And I think that was the difference. But obviously the practice and I think the time we put in, because we were grinding a lot. We were grinding we're at the office at 12 and leaving the office at 10 p.m., sometimes 11, So we're grinding a lot, we're spending a lot of time. And also the difference was that every Heretics player was actually leaving the game, They were playing ranked outside of scrims, which I also think it's important to play ranked when you are scrimming with your team. It's obviously hard to find energy and time for it, but I think it gives a little bit of edge and advantage when playing against teams that are not playing ranked, because you are just sharper, And I think everyone could see it from Heretics voice that everyone is fucking sharp in that team. If it's after playing ranked or not, they were sharp, and yeah.
Yeah, and then like to add a little bit of context, you came in for Woot because I believe he was either like too young or
Yes, too
had
young. He
trouble.
was
Yeah,
17 at the time.
yeah, he wasn't able to compete at that time, so you stepped in, and then on top of that, you had Rian's playing from online from his home or maybe from the office. I'm not sure about that. And then that kind of made it a little bit difficult, but you guys still pulled through in the end, qualifying for Madrid. And it was in Madrid where arguably that was like the lowest point for Heretic Squad in 2024. You guys will obviously improve from that point into the very end. But just kind of asking you real quick about what was the biggest difficulty that Heretics had? Was it just because of like finally getting into a LAN and just having to play with higher stakes that like altered the mental or something like that?
It definitely was that. I mean, I can say personally that uh, playing on stage and playing international events is also completely two different things. So while we are playing first game on international stage, you get that feeling that you never get while playing on such stage, right? So everything is new. Everything the reactions are new because people are gonna behave differently. The stakes are higher, right? So I think it was just a matter of us getting the experience on stage, because I remember playing in Madrid and we didn't play bad, honestly. Like that Sentinels game that we lost to one, honestly we should have won that, and I think we gave Sentinels the hardest time besides Gen G in that tournament when they're playing against us. And against PaTiTek, I mean, that game was a complete shit show from me. I always say that I take this game on myself. But yeah, I think it was just definitely a matter of getting stage experience, seeing how it is playing versus those teams and those people, and how to kind of behave and just figuring it out how you need to approach the game while playing on that stage. And I think with Madrid we got that. And unfortunately, we didn't show the level that we hoped for. Partially because it was because of me versus the PaTiTek game, but nevertheless, we got the experience. We had fun. First international event, which was first international event I think for everyone. Maybe not. Maybe besides Bull. So yeah, definitely a matter of getting experience, of stage experience.
And ultimately that did help out for that squad in the long run. Because I remember attending various press conferences and people in the team kind of looked at that as like the start of the team's improvement into like stage two and also Shanghai and also champions. And so now going over into Shanghai, I believe you didn't play in stage two domestically, and
I
then
didn't.
you did.
No, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the clarification on that. And then it was at that point in which Heretics allowed Minibu to step away and just focus on his health/mental? Because I believe they were saying that he was burnt out, and so that paved the way for you to return. And so, two-part question: what was that, basically situation like for you when they called you up for a part two Electric Boogaloo type of situation? And then, how'd you kind of look at the improvement for Heretics, in Shanghai? Because in Shanghai, you guys finished second place.
I mean, I remember the night where my agent messaged me that like pack up things, be ready for Shanghai, and I was just playing ranked, like I was just grinding, and when they called me, I had two feelings. First feeling was obviously the excitement of getting to play and travel to China and getting to play another international event, another Masters. And the second feeling was I was really scared, not gonna lie. I was maybe not scared, but worried about that. What if I'm not good enough? And what if I will perform again like versus paTiTek in Madrid? So I had those type of thoughts in my head where I was kind of battling them myself. But at the end of the day, when they messaged me, when I went to Berlin to get the visa, I actually really forgot about those feelings, And I said to myself that fuck it, no matter what, I'm gonna give 200% for the boys because I'm not gonna let them down. I let them down once already. I'm not gonna do it again. And if I'm gonna play like shit, then let it be, But I'm not gonna go down easily like I did in Madrid because I think in Madrid I kinda shut down. So I said to myself, in Shanghai, no matter what happens, I will always try to, give 200%. And I think I did that. I think we played a really good tournament. Also, I think the mindset that we came in with the tournament was good. We had no expectations for ourselves, right? They were saying that, oh yeah, we're playing with stand-in. For me, I wasn't thinking about it. For me, I was thinking that I have time for redemption, time for to redeem myself and to redeem my time at Heretics in Madrid, so I can like give the boys more what should have happened in Madrid, So yeah.
And yeah, like we're now kind of cutting close into the time limit, so I'm gonna have to ask, kind of pivot much more quickly into my question. So, obviously, sure, you guys didn't win Shanghai, but just to show that you guys were capable of playing against the rest of the international competition says a lot about how people now perceive towards Heretics at that time, because now once Champions rolled around, they were looking at Heretics as the main contender, one of the favorites, I would say, also behind winning the event. And then at that event, they ultimately finished second place, losing to a very Team on Fire EDG. Obviously, you were not a part of that, but I still remember, you had that surprise in which I believe it was Nicholas, the GM of Heretics, that kind of invited you to join the team in Korea and just kind of like do a type of anime type of like final episode type of thing in which like you have all of the past compatriots, all the past friends, from the past year. Everyone reunite for one final sprint. Very anime stuff. Definitely love that. And I even asked like a question about, how that even happened in one of the press conferences, in finals weekend. And so still like, just having to go through that kind of stuff, having Nicholas call you and go into Korea. What was that like for you, just having to reunite? And also on top of that, how'd you kind of look at the difference in vibes, and mentality and maturity also from like the start up until that point?
So answering the first bit of the question, when Niklas messaged me, it was first Rians that messaged me. He was like, yo bro, you wanna come Korea? I'm gonna ask Riot if Niklas can do something, maybe they can fly you out. And he said like 3 days after that message that he sent me that it's impossible to do it. But then Niklas messaged me and he was like, we're gonna fly you out, but we're not gonna say anything to the Heretics boys. We're gonna make it as a surprise, So I was like, hell yeah, you don't count me in, sign me up. Because I always wanted to visit Korea as well, and to have opportunity to fly there and to especially meet up with them was super nice. And yeah, I think you saw the video of like this anime reunion with us, which was pretty wholesome. But coming back to the second question, second bit of the question about the experience, I saw a mature team. Back like the difference from Madrid and in Champions, I saw a team that they know what they are doing, they know what they want, and it's the first place at Champions. They are confident about it, and they don't give a fuck that they're playing at big stage. They don't give a fuck about anything. All they give a fuck about is to play good Valorant, good show level, and they were excited to play, you know, and they were having fun with it. And I think that's also the most important fun thing while playing Valorant. Is you need to have fun, you know, at the end of the day, while playing games. You need to have fun, and as long as you're having fun, then all the other bits will click in, and everything will fall into the right place, as long as you're having fun. But yeah, it was actually insane now that I think about it, that Heretics flew me out, and it was all thanks to Niklas, you know. Actually, like the best manager I've ever had in esports, you know. Maybe the one at Liquid will top him. We'll see. But so far, he was the best manager I've had in esports, hands down. Great human to talk, great human to hang out. As everyone in Heretics, right? And like it was the cherry on top for me that they flew me out to Korea. I don't know, how can you hate them, you know, from my point of view? I saw some players or some people saying that like, oh, he might have a chip on his shoulder before because they kicked him, you know, or they didn't keep him a roster. I was like, what? Like, why? First, they gave me opportunity to play in kickoff and to help them. Then they gave me the opportunity to fly to Shanghai. And then they gave me another opportunity to see them and fly to Korea. So like, how can you hate those people? How can you have like anything bad, you know, to them? It's nothing but love to the guys. And yeah, we're gonna play against each other, so we'll see how that's gonna go. Cannot wait for that. So yeah, let's see what happens.
See what happens indeed, and kind of to kind of piggyback onto your most recent about like the effect that Heretics gave to you, you know, from that point to right now is like, you know, on top of just them allowing you to go to Korea, they gave you a chance to kind of show yourself to the scene because like had it not been for that, you know, in a lot of ways maybe people would not have seen like how you play, or maybe on top of that, Team Liquid might not have seen you how you play and might not have like used that to like add you into the squad. So plenty of like things that tie into, you know, your state in Heretics and also your current state in Liquid. And so we're running low on time, so I got a few more questions to ask you before I wrap this up.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned a
Yep.
little bit about, you know, the rematch, or more so the match against Heretics. You know, are they your number one team that you want to face in 2025?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I just want to face them, and I want to see what happens. You know, but it will be nothing but love. If I lose, if I win, you know, nothing will change my relationship with the guys. But I'm looking forward to playing against them. Yeah.
All right, and one more question. Now that you kind of look back on your journey in the past 2 years, well, including this past all season, what do you feel changed the most for you as like an individual slash player, and also contributed to the team that you've been a part of?
I'm more professional. I'm more straightforward as well. I'm not hiding my feelings, because what I notice is when I don't say, and when I don't say how I feel, then I'm just like storing this in myself, and then it's like boom, explode. You know, I think that's what I learned over the years: being professional and being calm and just grinding. You know, and having this mindset of you gotta show up and uphold the fundamentals. But that's when I learned. I think I learned a lot from Heretics, how they approach the game, and I think their system and everything that they were doing this year, it should be documented on how to run a esports team, in my opinion, and how to behave outside and inside of the game, because it was just perfect, in my opinion. You know, it's gonna be hard to replicate that, but teams don't need to replicate that, and for sure we're not gonna replicate that in Liquid. We're gonna do our own thing, and we're gonna show people that we have our own way of approach things, and we also have insane players, you know. So it just taking the small bits out of journey applying them right now, and and just playing, grinding, and I mean, if I had to answer the question, what I learned about myself, being professional, because I think I wasn't professional enough, but now I am.
Definitely you are now, and definitely we'll be looking forward to what you and the rest of Team Liquid does in 2025. And so that's it. I'm going to wrap up the interview right here. paTiTek, thank you so much for giving me the time to give me a chat about yourself and your team and your past team
Thank you for
and
having me.
everything else of that. So thank you so much. Pedro, Romero, paTiTek, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for having me. See ya, guys.